I had no background in fashion or understanding of execution or even design, really. Well, I worked my ass off.
Who was the designer you worked with?
Neeta Paul.
Okay.
She was Canadian Indian designer who had ran the landscape of fashion at that time was really a lot of embroideries, embellishments,
Very Indian in nature.
You're going to be asking me, I think, about any mistakes you learned from.
Yes. 3 mistakes that you've learned.
Yes, I don't know about the 3, but I will tell you the one very big mistake.
Yeah.
As a young designer, you want your collections to be showcased. You get attracted by big brands that are selling your label, and you are selling your label internationally. So I remember being approached by Anthropologie at Fashion Week, and they selected many silhouettes that they wanted to sell, and finally I got my orders from Anthropologie for over 3,000 of pieces of one single dress, which was a tent dress. It was a hand-woven khadi with kanta work, 13 meters of fabric per dress.
Wow.
Now, if you just put an average of that, I could not, with all my might, produce over 36,000 meters of that textile.
Oh my God. Talk about small batch.
Right? That was the order that came my way, and I was like, wow. Because it was selling at the price I was getting for one dress was $40 back then. This is many years ago.
That's at cost.
Yes.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
And of course, they are
hike
multiplying it 3 times and selling it in their stores.
Right.
But to me, that one order was enough to sustain, let's say, many months.
Of course.
Right?
You able to fulfill
and with
that
profits.
Order?
Now, I did. But such a huge learning. So these are the terms people are working on. Still very exploitative terms that are being pushed upon producers in countries and designers in countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Vietnam. It's all there. They did not give me a letter of credit till the shipment did not leave the shores.
Okay.
So you will only get your letter of credit. That means you have to do this with no money guarantee.
Upfront
At all. No advance, nothing.
Oh my God. And
Then, and at the with a risk that if it is delayed by a week or a day, or
they cut stuff out,
they can reduce the cost to 50% or reduce the order value to 50%.
So basically, you need to allow them the markdowns then, because according to them, it's later than their buy plan. So then the later you are, the higher the markdown you need to allow them.
Not just that, but it's very arbitrary and it's unilateral. And you've invested. I know many designers that have literally had to shut down their businesses
because of this.
Because of losses incurred on this. So I
need to know what happened with this order.
A lot of their manufacturers get to know when any designer is given an order. And these manufacturers reach out to us independent of
that we'll make
the agency,
it for you.
that we'll produce it for you. But they take full money upfront from us.
Oh God.
And so I had sleepless night for 60 days. The biggest cost was that something that was hand woven had to be made on a mill. It had to be turned into a power loom. So that was my first compromise. Second was that I had to invest everything I had into producing it with no guarantees and no control over the producer, even on the quality, because I did not have a team that could QC that many pieces, nor the fabric. So the only thing, the kanta work remained by hand. Again, sleepless nights, finally sent this order out somehow, as per timelines. But literally, you had to take a loan out to give the money to the producer, the manufacturer, to be able to supply it. So you had to outsource it. You couldn't produce it yourself. You had no control over the quality. You compromised on your design by turning something handloom into power loom.
Right.
And then, I was given the letter of credit, and then there was a reorder for some 200 pieces, which, I managed to do. But then that day I decided, never again.
Right.
Never again.
Basically, so the mistake was to actually accept that order.
Yes, because
Right.
you are excited to sell Urvashi Kaur
Right.
at Anthropology
Right.
worldwide.
Yeah.
Right?
But how about if
that
you,
gives you a high.
But how about if you still do that, but you stick to the small batch formula?
No, because
Can't do
they
that?
require those many orders.
They require those
They
units.
need, for them to invest in a design, they control the quantities
Yeah.
and they control the timelines. So you have only 60 days to produce.
Wow.
So how can you, it takes 2 months to weave textiles,
actually, yeah, right.
and that too, depending on the cluster, how many looms
are
are
working on it, right.
operational, how many people are working on those looms, do they have something that's already ongoing? It is impossible.
I want to turn this around and ask you, like, this is when, the commercial need changed your artistic bend, right? Because you said, like, it turned from a handloom to a power loom. But have you ever
yeah.
done it the other way around? Where,
Totally.
yeah.
So we have set goals every year. We set goals on minimizing the percentage of, or increasing the percentage of handloom textiles that we consume and create our clothing with.
Yeah.
So we are mapping and measuring this to understand what is the percentage of reduction and the increase in handloom. So literally we're down to I think now 20%, 10 to 20%
Of
varying
regular fabric.
of fabric that is power loom is being used, but our goal is in 2 years to completely take it to zero. 100% handloom, yes. So we are looking to find ways to achieve, to find alternate textiles or to develop, we're doing R&D to develop textiles that will give us that quality and that to be able to create that design.
But so now coming back to your first, if I'm not mistaken, it was Lavi and Rose.
Yes.
That was your very first,
Very
right?
first collection.
I remember that. And your very first store, I still remember, was at the Crescent Mall, which was back then this new hub for designers. Tell me about your aesthetic evolving from Lavi and Rose to now. Prana.
So I think, again, because I did not go to a fashion school and did not do 4 years figuring out my aesthetic and exploring what I was truly uniquely my own expression.
Right.
What I would consider is that I'm great at understanding design and what and fully visualizing a collection. But I was going with what I felt at that moment, my connect with France, and I wanted to give an ode to France. But it was more about the theme rather than my own expression.
Okay.
So my first 2 collections, now I got raving reviews, and it was critically very well,
yes, it was very well
received and
absolutely.
appreciated. Of course, it held all the core understandings of who I am, but in terms of aesthetic, it was, totally catering to the subject that I had chosen or the theme that I had chosen,
right.
Which was, of course, in contrast to who I am as a person.
But I feel
and
like,
what my voice
even
is.
till today, you are still doing that, but your theme is now overall just sustainability. If you think about it, like,
I don't think it's not a theme. I just know more closely who I am.
Yes.
And what is it that I seek in clothing.
But that's what I meant. Like, for example, Lavi and Rose, like you rightly said, was a theme.
Yeah.
You designed around the theme, but now it's no longer a theme. Like
no,
but
so
it's the lifestyle.
and I remember the second collection that I launched.
Yeah.
I was panned. I was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
As a designer, and I love that. So every time you hit rock bottom,
yeah,
that's when you do some deep reflective work. COVID happened. We had no website. We were not selling on Instagram. We were a brand that was only selling offline at physical retail stores. We were selling at over, I think, close to 20 stores.
Yeah.
Not our own, but like different stores.
Yeah.
We had, it was a lot of, we were or at pop-ups or at events.
It was a lot of recalibration for a lot of
completely
brands.
Resetting because we had to survive.
Right.
How do you survive when the stores are all shut?
Yeah.
Where there was no events
Nobody's
happening.
going there anyway. Yeah.
We needed to immediately pivot, build a website, communicate what we were crafting. I've always been working in sustainability or what now they're calling it. The word is a bit cliched. I don't usually like to use that word at all, but like I'd always been a trans-seasonal brand. I was always gender fluid.
Right.
I was always small batch production. We were always never liquidating, never going on sale. So we are making people aware of the value in the product, in what we are creating, because of the longevity, because of the design, because of the quality of textile, the handcrafted aspect, and that we were absorbing everything that was getting left over would be upcycled and into the newer collection and would be integrated into the future collections.
So like reinvention and recycling and reusing, just
absolutely.
To sort of follow
we would
that.
Never market it as good design is relevant forever.
Right.
So you don't. It's not. It was not based on trend. So there was no need to say, oh, it's no longer. So we weren't really doing what commercial fashion businesses were selling their products as, and this is the latest drop and new and no, I was selling everywhere. So there's summer everywhere. At some point of the year, in some place in the world there's is summer.
Correct.
Or there is winter, right?
Yeah.
You just have to identify your product, and if you're not overproducing, so choose the scale at which you want to operate.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like I said, a lot of people do continue to work for larger fashion houses like Anthropologie and are creating larger productions. Right. But then you have to think of the cost to you.
Right.
So you just need to innovate more and be able to find markets and find a way to communicate what you're creating. And today it's so much easier, and the access to your audience, they could be sitting anywhere in the world. Through the digital platforms is so much easier. So I think just be mindful of how you are producing and how much you're producing and how you want to
take it forward
for your own businesses, whatever makes sense to you. There's and find your unique, your USP, your unique voice and expression as well.
Absolutely.
And communication, I think, is the most important thing today, to be able to communicate it rightly, and then you will naturally, organically also find your right markets.
Right.
But research. 80% of everything is research. Whether it's sampling or it's anything new that you want to explore.
Yeah. Tell me something, during COVID, like you said, you guys had to pivot and sort of move, recalibrate your situation and all of that. I want you to give us, in fact, a quick, like a math lesson. And I meant that specifically in the sustainability zone. Like we were talking about how you're introducing khadi and then people are suddenly like, but I don't want to pay that for khadi, right? So give me a math lesson to like people who are out there working their way to finding, newer concepts within the sustainability world, but how should they price their product? How, like, if the cost is X, what should they sell it at, and what's the sweet spot?
Ultimately, there are different models even in this segment. There are many brands like, let's say, Kharakapas, that have lower prices.
Yeah.
They are targeting a larger audience,
Right.
a larger demographic, and creating more accessibility. But then obviously, so they have different models they're operating on.
Yeah.
Other brands that have more premium design, and there may be many more craft in one silhouette itself, or a lot many hours of work,
Yeah.
whether it is patchwork or it is pleating or it is hand block printing. Right now, educating the consumer about the crafts, because a lot of times people get confused. They think it's a print.
Yeah.
You need to make them
Yes.
understand that this is a
happens a lot
layer,
of times.
this is hand done.
Yeah.
But I think the answer, a more simpler answer, which is also something that I've now learning more and more myself.
Yeah.
It's not something that arrived at me. I mean, you have to do a lot of making people aware of what you're doing and how you're creating, how are you crafting your pieces, right? So the challenge was, people are not buying you because you are consciously crafting it back then, right? Because there wasn't so much awareness of how everything connects to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, as an industry, the fashion industry is amongst the second largest polluter.
Absolutely.
And what's happening ecologically, right? Our global warming is I mean, what is our contribution as an industry to this problem at large? And today the generations are facing it.
Right.
So today your consumer is already very aware of this.
Right.
Back in the day, nobody had value
But how do we tell the
Yes.
budding designers to figure costing?
I will tell you that costing is very subjective or relative to perceived value of your product. So if you can shift the perception, you can command a higher value.
Got it.
For the same product. At a more mass pop-up, the consumer that's coming there is looking for product at a cheaper value. So if you are positioning yourself, and if your products are high value, but you are in markets where the consumer is not
able to pay.
Yeah, you are not at the right, there's no alignment there. So either you create products that will match the consumer's expectation in price, you can still be sustainable. So either you tweak your product to suit the market where you are or where you want to sell to, or you find places. So let's say the same product, if positioned in a very, premium store, now your product is sitting there. The consumer that's walking in is already
filtered.
Yes, filtered, and will, even if they may not necessarily be able to afford it aspirationally, they will look at your product
and they connect it to that.
They will connect it to high value and luxury because you are positioned in that space.
Like, there's no like a easy formula that, listen, okay, my cost is 200 rupees, let me just do it 6x. Can we do that?
I mean, it's a question of volume and scale. It's like what kind of a business operation you want to have. So this is very personal to each brand and how they want to operate.
Product-centric.
There are many brands that are in this segment that are only and only selling online.
And do you think that people are riding on more mimicry than originality based on that? Because then they're looking to make money?
Well, most businesses, if they are looking to make money, there's so much more than just mimicry that's happening.
Right.
There is greenwashing that's happening because today everybody has to speak the jargon. Nobody's really mapping, measuring their impact. Nobody's caring about that. They're just
superficially running a business, basically, not looking at the deep
and
impact.
then obviously they're not really doing any kind of fair trading. There's exploitation happening there where they're not paying their supply chain. They're not being transparent about their supply chain. They could be lying about what textiles they're using or what. Until the time policies don't come into place, and literally everybody in this everybody in the entire supply chain, everybody has to have every stakeholder has to really make a commitment and a promise to themselves, and really till there is no policies governing businesses and how they're operating.
But it just sounds like a very long journey, because for me, like, I feel that, and I was going to ask you this, that do you think people are actually moving towards sustainability, or are they just checking boxes? Like, for example, a big brand, right, that makes fast fashion is now making a little bit of a capsule segment saying sustainable fashion.
Right.
And then you're just like, okay, well, thank you for...
So, there is a lot of lip service that is been done in the last 10 years by such mega brands that are actually they're changing consumer behavior to wanting, every 15 days or 1 week, a whole new set of clothing is changed on the shop floor, and, you're told, oh my God, what you bought last week is out of trend, out of fashion.
Yeah.
You need to buy more because they want more and more to be consumed.
Right.
And people just buying out of impulse. And also, now they want everything cheap because they know that they can't wear it for too long because they're going to be looked down upon if they're repeating their clothes, or if they're...
or the product quality is such that
or the product quality is not lasting even
5
a year.
washes. Yeah.
Right, 5 washes. So, you're like... So it's so crazy that... And then on the side, they're doing these small capsules or a few products.
Yeah, they are. They're making it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like H&M's sort of, this thing that they do where you bring your clothes that you don't use to donate, and then they'll recreate. So I know that they're making efforts, because it is tough to have such a big successful business, and then now you're getting fingers from everywhere saying, listen, you are contributing to this and that.
These big businesses are all about profiteering, right? It's not about community. So where are these garments being produced? Right?
Right.
Where is the spirit of community where you are growing and your artisans are also growing?
Got it. Yeah.
Where is that happening?
That's not happening.
No. Yeah. Their pockets and their money is growing. Their businesses are growing. Some parts of their teams will grow.
Yeah. Urvashi, at Vogue Forces of Fashion, you were invited to sort of express your art form, and you did that through a film, which was basically like an art film, really nicely made, very moving. You moved on to the Mumbai Art Festival, where this time your expression was more in terms of a dance, which didn't even really have any music, but it just goes to show that you're a true believer that fashion and art are, fluid almost, and that it transcends into something more than just clothes, apparel, and accessories. Give us an insight on how fluid you think that is today, like how that works with you.
I think I was very fortunate to receive these opportunities where I was able to go beyond just creating collections, for a purpose to sell. It offered me this, freedom to express my creativity differently. And I chose to actually not present like many other designers through a physical representation of what the brand's vision or the theme was, global runway.
Right.
But I wanted to express just what textiles and clothes to us as humans represent. And the film was called The Unconscious. The fact that, as we believe in our culture as well, clothes carry an aura, a spirit. There is a life force within. It's like an organism, right? And it almost has these stored memories from the collective consciousness, which is not in even our memory.
Right.
And it's just to say that just like when we wear the clothes, absorb our energy and our spirit, which is why in India we don't do a lot of thrifting, right? Or swapping of clothes, because you feel that it carries the person's energy. So I wanted to convey and I wanted to communicate this understanding of clothes having their own life.
That sounds
through
so
a
nice.
fashion film or an art film, a video installation, which it was a short film, but crafted meticulously and so brilliantly conceived and kind of, put together that it was very thought-provoking.
Wow, that sounds like something I would really want to watch, because I have only seen your work in the sphere of, like you said, tangible collections, but this would be something, and even the dance form, like you were saying that the dance that was done at the Mumbai Museum.
When I had the second, I was approached by Kaivan Mehta, curator, who was putting together this show for the Mumbai Arts Festival, bringing together creative forces from the design world, product, jewelry, fashion, space design, and it was really interesting. And I wanted to actually, not even the process that I approached, both the video installations were different, but also the subject, depicting how the interconnectedness, not just us as a community and people and our environments, how I wanted to depict that, and I chose to work with a company that, and it was a performative piece that happened in the museum, at the gallery, in the space where then the video installation was housed. So I wanted to, we even captured the piece through one lens, one point, unedited.
Oh, wow.
Just to show what a person perceiving it or viewing it just from their perspective. So it was not, it was completely unedited, and it was without sound. We literally wanted you to feel the emotion through the movement and the clothes that were connecting with the three
dancers,
individuals. And it was almost where the sets were made and undone. And then after the performance was over, the video film, which was a 15-minute video film, ran in the same space with the remnants of the sets
fabrics
and the garments that were worn by the dancers.
Is there somewhere we can watch this? Do you
Yes,
have it?
I have yet not released it on my socials, but I will very soon.
Definitely share it with us, because we'd love to put it in our channel so people can watch it. It would be so cool.
So,
and now we are going to move on to the fun part of this podcast, which is also something that why I've started this in the first place. I absolutely love anything to do with styling. It doesn't really have to be with clothes. It can be with anything, even if it's art and it's pieces that are from your past. But specifically with you, I want to talk about your personal style. I want to get into your head and find out how to build personal style. And I mean, we're talking about specifics, so I want to know, like, you know, somebody who's currently watching this and is not like, doesn't know, like, I don't know how to carry that jacket, or I don't know how to wear those pants, but what do they need to know to build personal style?
I think first and foremost, they need to, you know, have a little dialogue with themselves.
Okay.
Just get to know what do you like? Okay. How do you like to, maybe, you know, they find a representation through anybody in the public life.
Okay.
They look at somebody and they look at the way they style themselves, like a Priyanka Chopra, you know, and they look and they're like, wow, I like that, you know, I resonate with that.
Okay.
So what you resonate with is generally what you yourself aspire towards.
Okay.
You know, I would say developing a personal style, it's something actually that takes your whole life building.
Yeah.
But I would say a perfect example of that would be Coco Chanel, right? Certain things that become a marker of your personal style.
Right.
I mean, her whole brand was a marker, but you know, the monochrome colors, the pearls. Similarly, you know, in India you had Maharani Gayatri Devi. Right. There was a very particular aspect about their personal style, which was, let's say, the sari. So, you know, they become iconic because of them sort of repeating some of these elements continuously through their journeys.
Right.
So adopting that one style, which is very much you. So for example, for me, it's about bold jewelry statements and clothing that's layers. You are in love with what you wear because it is something that speaks very personally about you, about who you are as a person. So I feel every person, whoever you resonate with, you know, you can imbibe some of that quality and just explore. If you haven't explored, I think that's the best way to kind of get to know what you feel really good at. And trust me, when you feel confident, you exude that, and then you see how people respond to you differently. And I think that's the power of building a personal style. For me, making bold statements.
You love it.
Jewelry, makeup, fashion accessories, hair colors, or whatever it is, you know. I mean, find that one thing or the two things that people will know you for. So, you know, it becomes sort of, again, going back to Maharani Gayatri Devi wearing that sari with so much elegance and grace and panache and, you know, the pearls, or just that, you know, grace that comes through it. Coco Chanel, kind of really, those pearls, the monochromatic colors, you know, continuously repeating in your wardrobe kind of makes it
becomes your
that becomes your style statement.
So, like, I noticed that you wear your accessories.
I wear my accessories with aplomb. I am unapologetic about, you know, I love makeup. I love jewelry. I love shoes. I'm obsessed with jewelry.
But I want to say this, that you are obsessed with jewelry, and I noticed both of us wearing Onond. I want to know that how is it that you've never got into making accessories? Because I just don't know, like, to me as a person, like, obviously I'm not part of your, you know, your creative this thing. I feel like when I look at you, I'm like, how does she not make that? Like, how does she not make things like that?
Soon you will see. I mean, you know, fingers crossed.
That will be amazing.
Yeah. it is something that I've been toying with and I've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe in a few years.
Because I mean, you know, your store, your website, everything is just so full of separates. Everything that you stand for, right?
Yeah.
Handloom fabrics, separates, layering, everything. We need jewelry. Can you just please get on with it now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now tell me when people are looking at styling, right? Handloom doesn't come as a top choice. Not always. Not yet. It is getting there. I think there's a tissue is making a certain comeback. It's all over, half metallic, half whatnot. Where would you like to see handloom fabric being used more in styling specifically?
I think a lot of great stylists are working on great features for publications now, where Indian brands, homegrown brands that have very unique perspectives, that are offering silhouettes, and the way they're being styled together. Now I see that aspiration coming through features and stories and campaigns and visually, you know, you see that effort is being done to communicate
that kind of storytelling.
That storytelling, absolutely. I think a lot of the times people don't know where to start. People don't know where to access. So even if you see now, let's say Purnia's pop up, or you know, you have Tata Click, or you have a lot of these online platforms. Of course, you have the stores that have been, you know, Ogan and Jaipur, or even Good Earth. You know, you see now they are creating. So they have. You know, where they invite, like they invited Riya Kapoor to do a wardrobe, hand-picked wardrobe.
Right.
You know, her picks.
Right.
And she picked out one of our pieces as her, you know, sort of go-to. So a lot of online platforms are also doing this, and stores are also upping their game.
Right.
They're trying to communicate to a client how it can be worn, how it can be styled, you know, more and more. And of course, you have celebrities endorsing fashion that is consciously made. You have Dia Mirza, who's you know, the spokesperson for the UN, actually wore the brand Urvashi Kaur for her appearance at the UN.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes,
okay.
so you see these, and you know, what was she wearing? She was wearing a blazer made out of case with one of the dresses that I create out of Noil, which is, you know, it's also sexy. So it's sustainable fashion doesn't necessarily mean boring.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think you're championing that, because I feel that you're trying to make that listen guys, you can do so much more with it.
Yeah,
and,
you know like, actually fashion to me, I look at everything from the sense of fashion, because fashion to me is self-expression and very closely linked to personal style and what I want to see for myself, I want to offer to the world as well.
So somebody who's new to your label, somebody who's now like, what are the three silhouettes that you'd be like, listen, start with these and move on?